the topic of my discussion is biportal endoscopic decompression for posterior apophyseal ring fracture, that is PRAF lesion, which is a motion preserving solution in young patients. So first of all, what is a PARF lesion or a PRAF lesion? It's a separation of the bony fragment at the posterior rim of the vertebral body, which projects into the spinal canal and causes claudication symptoms. This is often seen in young individuals. It predominantly affects adolescents and young adults who engage in high levels of physical activity. PRAF lesions are generally seen in associations with lumbar disc herniation. The epidemiology states that the incidence is very rare, but it can be seen in cases up to 1 to 3% of cases of lumbar disc herniation. Predominantly affects people who are between 19 to 25 years of age with a male predominance, and typically seen at L4, L5 levels and L5S1 levels because of high biomechanical stresses. And the special risk factor is high impact sports, especially weightlifting and gymnasts. So there is one classification that's called the Takata classification. It classifies the PARF lesions into 3 types. Type 1, 2 and 3, which increases in severity. So type 1 is the arcuate fragment which projects into the spinal canal without any defect in the vertebral body. Type 2 is the separation of cortical as cancellous portions of the bony rim into the vertebral body, and type 3 is localized teardrop fracture. Type 4 has not been described in the original classification, but it's a fracture along the full length of the axial length of the posterior margin of the vertebral body. So what are the treatment options that are available for treating a PARF lesion? So the 3 options, which are the conventional options, include open laminectomy, an MIS, ULBD, or a TLIF PLIF procedure. The advantage and disadvantage of each has been described here. Open laminectomy gives us the chance to do a complete removal of the disc herniation and the PARF lesion, which will give us a high chance of symptom relief, but it is associated with significant tissue trauma and longer recovery time in hospital stay. MIS ULBD can be a second option, which can be less tissue damaging with faster recovery, but limited visualization and steep learning curve for surgeons might be a disadvantage. TLIF and PLIF provides good long-term stability, but it causes a loss of segmental mobility with longer recovery time and potential adjacent segment disease. So the conventional TLIF or PLIF procedure is invasive, and it often leads to increased recovery time and causes iatrogenic muscle damage. And the main disadvantage is fusing the spinal segment, which is particularly problematic because this is commonly seen in younger patients. So this is where MIS plays a key role in preserving the motion and minimizing the muscle damage. So as we have evolved from open spine surgeries to tubular surgeries, now to endoscopic surgeries, we have endoscopic options which are available for treating the PARF lesions. All the 3 types of endoscopy, that is transforaminal, interlaminar, monoportal, and UBE, can be done. The advantages and disadvantages of all of them have been described. TLD is ultra minimally invasive, but it becomes difficult to remove the larger fragments and requires expertise and specific tools. It is not ideal for high iliac crest and in those cases where there is an enlarged L5 transverse process. Also, the breakage of instruments might be an issue. The monoportal endoscopy is effective for larger fragments and preserves the minimally invasive benefits, but again it has a steep learning curve and has expensive instruments. The advantage of UB is that conventional instruments can be utilized, but it is technically challenging for surgeons, and there is always a risk of the nerve root or dural injury. So for those who are new to UB, it's the technique involves use of 2 endoscopic portals which are placed on one side of the spine, allowing the surgeons to access and address the misspinal pathologies with minimal tissue disruption to the surrounding tissues. So the purpose of presenting this case is that this case report shows how UV was used to treat a 19-year-old female patient, successfully preserving her spinal motion and alleviating her symptoms. So this is the X-ray. A 19-year-old female patient, she had chronic both lower limb radicular pain, left more than right since 1 year, not responding to conservative treatment. She was diagnosed with L4, L5 stenosis with a posterior apophyseal ring fracture. SLR was free, there were claudication symptoms, but there was no motor deficit. This is the MRI finding. You can see that at L4, L5 level, there is a disc herniation and there is an associated PRAF lesion. The displaced PRAF fragment is compressing the neural elements, and the CT scan confirms our diagnosis. So the UB approach was used to treat this. I used a 30-degree arthroscope, 90-degree plasma RF1, 4 mm arthroscope, and a hooded drill. The surgery is done in prone position with 2 portals. Decompression was done in this case from the left side. Unilateral laminotomy with bilateral decompression was done without removing the disc material and the PARF fragment. The main challenge in doing this procedure was achieving a right-sided root decompression because of the tight canal, because of the displaced PARF fragment. So intraoperatively, I encountered a small rent in the root sleeve, but there was no functional neurological deficit in the post-op period. So I'll just skip to the operative video. This is the intra-op video after the decompression. You can see this is the left-sided nerve root, the dura, and the opposite-sided nerve root. There is a small rent in the root sleeve.
What these lateral foraminal decompressions do you have? You have been doing it since how many years? Four years? Since 2017, so 7 years. Amit, you have?
So there was an improvement in the vast back leg and the improvement in the ODI scores. It took me about time of 100 minutes to do the surgery. The only complication was a small rent in the dural sleeve.
And all that.
This is the post-operative CT scan confirming the adequacy of my decompression. You can see that calcified lesion, that PARP lesion is still there. And this is the post-operative MRI. There is some CSF because of that root injury. This was the second case. I borrowed it from my friend. He did this case for a 13-year-old female patient with the same. He also did the same unilateral laminotomy and bilateral decompression without touching the disc herniation.
That's fine.
And this is his operative pre-op MRI. I don't have his post-operative MRI with me. So these are the various methods that are used to treat the PARF lesion. Some recommend doing just decompression. Some recommend removing the disc herniation. Some recommend removing the disc herniation as well as the LDH, and some recommend fusion. This was a review article which I went through, which showed that all of the procedures will have a similar outcome. So the open surgery, which would have resulted in larger scars and longer recovery time, was avoided in this case, and UB offered a motion-preserving, minimally invasive option. The advantages include small incision, less tissue trauma, better magnification with more safety. But the challenge is that it is technically demanding because of the limited working space and delicate nature of the decompression on the neural structures. So the key takeaways are that UB is an effective, minimally invasive option for treating PARF lesion in young patients. It has motion-preserving benefits, making it ideal for active individuals, early recovery with minimal scarring, and excellent outcomes. But experience and precision are critical for successful decompression and avoiding complications in these cases. Thank you.